Brother, before we dive in, hear me clearly. What I'm about to tell you will save you years of stress, confusion, and emotional damage. These aren't random opinions. These are the patterns men only recognize after they've already lost their peace, their purpose, and sometimes even their future. Most guys learn these lessons when it's too late. You won't. Today, you'll hear the 10 types of women no man should ever marry if he wants stability, growth, and a life he's proud of. And I'm telling you now, once you understand these patterns, you'll see them everywhere. You'll understand why certain relationships drained you, why you lost momentum, why you felt smaller around the wrong woman. So listen closely, brother. Every point matters. Every pattern counts. And before we begin, do me one favor. Like the video, hit subscribe, and help this message reach more men who need clarity and strength. Now let's begin. The first type is the teacher type. At first, she seems helpful. She positions every comment as just advice, every correction as just trying to help. But underneath that sweet tone is a belief she rarely says out loud. She thinks she's above you. She enters the relationship like she's signing up to supervise you, not stand beside you. Her mindset is basically, I know more. I understand life better. I'll guide him into the man he should be. What begins as little suggestions slowly becomes a lifestyle of critique. She analyzes everything: how you speak, how you sit, how you react in conversations, how you tell stories, how you handle stress. Nothing passes without evaluation, and even when she says nothing, you feel the judgment sitting in the air like humidity. Before long, every day becomes a silent exam. And she's the type of professor who can't give an A because if she ever did, she'd lose her sense of superiority. So you start shifting how you talk. You start filtering your jokes. You become careful with your opinions. You stop being spontaneous. Without noticing it, you begin living in reaction to her expectations rather than living as yourself. The deeper problem is this. A woman who always feels the need to teach a man doesn't actually respect him. She doesn't see a partner. She sees a student who needs improvement. And the moment a man starts walking on eggshells, his confidence drains, his masculinity shrinks, and his decision-making gets shaky. She quietly becomes the leader. And the relationship turns into mentorship, a mentorship you never signed up for. Many men try to earn her respect by trying harder, being more careful, proving themselves endlessly. But you can't earn respect from someone who needs to feel superior to feel secure. And if you think that dynamic is draining, the next type pulls you into something even heavier. Not because she corrects you, but because she bleeds on you. The second type is the divorced woman who hasn't healed. She may look put together. She may laugh easily, socialize well, even seem emotionally mature. But inside, she's carrying emotional shrapnel from the past, unresolved pain, unmet needs, and memories she hasn't processed. And because she hasn't healed, she doesn't respond to you. She responds to ghosts. You raise your voice slightly, and she panics because another man used to shout. You don't reply for a few hours, and she spirals because someone else disappeared on her. You make a tiny mistake, and she reacts like you broke something sacred because someone else actually did. You end up spending your energy avoiding landmines you didn't plant. You're doing emotional labor for wounds that weren't created by your hands. Here's the truth: most men avoid because they want to be the good guy. You can give love, stability, patience, kindness, but you cannot heal someone who refuses to face her own hurt. Her past becomes your daily responsibility. You stop being her partner and become her emotional rehab. And rehab is a place for professionals, not boyfriends or husbands. Then we move into the third type, the professional flirt. This one is different. She's not wounded. She's not recovering from anything. She's addicted. Addicted to attention, addicted to validation, addicted to the rush of being desired. Flirting isn't something she does by accident. It's part of her identity. She thrives on eyes being on her. She loves compliments the way some people love caffeine. She needs them to function. She laughs a little too loudly. She touches arms a little too easily. She calls every man just a friend. Her DMs are always active, and she knows exactly who watches her stories, reacts to her photos, or comments on her posts. The problem isn't the behavior, it's the addiction beneath it. No matter how well you treat her, no matter how much attention you give, it will never be enough because she needs that external high. And once you're with her, You start feeling like you're competing with men who aren't even in the room. Emotional cheating begins long before anything physical ever happens. And that takes us straight into the next danger, the type of woman who doesn't just drain your energy, but drains your future. We'll step into her world in part 2. Before we continue, drop a quick affirmation in the comments. Just type awareness. And if you're finding value so far, hit subscribe to join a growing community of men who want clarity, strength, and peace in their lives. Now that we've walked through the women who drain your emotional stability, let's talk about the type who quietly destroys something just as important, your future. And that begins with the spender. The spender is the woman whose relationship with money is impulsive, emotional, and detached from reality. She doesn't buy things because she needs them. She buys because the purchase gives her a temporary high. Shopping becomes stress relief. New things become her comfort blanket, and lifestyle upgrades become a way to feel relevant or admired. She isn't thinking about savings, investments, or long-term goals. She's thinking about today. What looks good, what feels good, and what makes people around her notice. Her financial habits look harmless at first. A few extra purchases, some impulse buys. A mindset of, I deserve this. But over time, you'll see the pattern. She lives above her means and assumes you should fill the gap. You're covering her spending, her hobbies, her moods, and her emotional impulses. Bills become tense conversations. Budgeting becomes impossible. And even when you earn more, she spends more, making progress feel invisible. Being with a spender is like trying to water a plant that has a hole at the bottom of the pot. No matter how much you pour in, nothing grows. And a man who's trying to build a future needs a partner who respects the grind, not someone who sabotages it. But if financial instability wears you down slowly, the next type drains you emotionally. Every day, every moment, in ways that feel endless. The insecure woman lives in constant self-doubt, and because she doubts herself, she doubts you. Nothing you say ever feels enough for her. Compliments bounce off. Reassurance fades quickly. Evidence of loyalty gets questioned. She interprets silence as distance, independence as rejection, and your goals as abandonment. Her emotional world is a storm of fear, and you become her umbrella, an umbrella holding up the sky. At first, you try to be patient, you try to understand, you try to support her. But insecurity is a bottomless pit. The more you pour into it, the more it consumes. You spend your time preventing emotional fires instead of building your life. You become overly careful with your words to avoid triggering her fears. And slowly, you shift from being a man with a mission to being a man managing someone else's emotional turbulence. A relationship like this suffocates you. Not because she's bad, but because she needs healing you cannot provide. A man can love a woman deeply, but he cannot be her therapist, her self-worth, and her emotional anchor 24/7. No man survives that long term. Then comes the sixth type, the beauty-only woman. She's dedicated to her looks, her appearance, her outfits, her angles, her filters, her curated image. She might be stunning. She might be the woman who makes heads turn when she walks into a room. But beneath the surface, something is missing. She is invested in being admired, not in being valuable. She knows how to attract attention, but she doesn't know how to maintain connection. She can offer presence, but not partnership. Her identity is built almost entirely around being desirable, and because her beauty has opened doors her whole life, she believes beauty is enough. Enough to be valued, enough to be prioritized, enough to be chosen. But beauty doesn't raise children. Beauty doesn't solve problems. Beauty doesn't build a family. Beauty doesn't make decisions. Beauty doesn't bring emotional intelligence. A man who marries a beauty-only woman eventually wakes up feeling like he's carrying the entire relationship on his shoulders, emotionally, mentally, financially, spiritually, while she relies on her looks as her only contribution. She might impress your friends, but she won't sustain your home. And the harsh truth is that beauty fades. And when a woman's entire identity rests on something temporary, the relationship becomes fragile. If you think these three types are heavy, wait until you see the next one, the type whose entire lifestyle is built on distraction, noise, and escape. She's coming next. Before moving on, drop a quick affirmation in the comments. Just type clarity. Now, let's go even deeper, because now we're stepping into the types that quietly pull men off their paths. Not through chaos, but through distraction and psychological erosion. And the first one in this layer is the party girl. The party girl isn't just someone who enjoys going out. Lots of people like a good night with friends. This woman, though, lives for stimulation. She needs noise. She needs movement. She needs eyes, attention, the pulse of nightlife. Her identity revolves around being seen, being out there, being part of the excitement. If she's not in the middle of something loud and chaotic, she feels empty. Her priorities are upside down: fun over discipline, attention over commitment, entertainment over responsibility, outside over home. She's always chasing the next high, the club lights. The perfect picture for social media, the music, the validation from strangers who won't even remember her name tomorrow. Her life is a loop of temporary highs, followed by emotional crashes she refuses to acknowledge. And here's what most men overlook. She's not addicted to nightlife because she loves fun. She's addicted to escape. The moment life gets quiet, stable, or serious, she feels trapped. When things slow down, she's confronted with her own emptiness, so she runs from it. In a relationship, this becomes chaos. You're visualizing the next 5 years. She's thinking about the next Friday night. You're building a home. She's building a highlight reel. You want peace. She wants stimulation. And no man can build a solid life with someone who's still mentally living in her experimental phase. But noise and chaos aren't the only threats. Some women don't destroy your peace through volume. They do it through strategy. And that brings us to the 8th type, the manipulative woman. This is the type most men don't recognize until it's too late because her tactics aren't loud. They're subtle, calculated, quiet. She studies your patterns, your reactions, your fears, your insecurities, not to understand you, but to use these things as tools. She rarely argues directly. Instead, she twists, deflects, or redirects. She plays with your perception. You'll find yourself apologizing for things you didn't do. You'll question your memory. You'll rethink conversations. You'll replay moments in your head trying to figure out how everything became your fault. That confusion, that fog in your chest and mind, that's her strategy working. She uses silent treatment as punishment, tears at strategically convenient moments. The classic, "I'm fine" when she's absolutely not fine. She'll twist your words, pretend to misunderstand you, or play the victim to pull control back into her hands. With her, you're not in a relationship, you're in a psychological maze. And here's the real cost. Manipulation drains you from the inside. It weakens your confidence. It messes with your sense of reality. You start losing your natural masculine presence because you're too busy defending yourself, doubting yourself, or trying to avoid triggering another emotional game. By the time a man realizes what's happening, he's usually exhausted, second-guessing everything, and unsure of who he is anymore. But manipulation, as damaging as it is, still isn't the final blow. There is a type that feels normal on the surface, even harmless, but slowly empties a man's entire future without him noticing. And she's next. Before we move on, drop a quick affirmation in the comments. Just type strength. Now let's talk about the type of woman whose damage doesn't show up through chaos, or spending, or manipulation. It shows up through something far more subtle, entitlement, and that's where the 9th type comes in, the entitled woman. The entitled woman believes she deserves everything simply because she exists. She expects commitment while giving inconsistency. She expects loyalty while offering minimal respect. She wants a lifestyle without contributing effort. In the beginning, her expectations seem harmless, even feminine. She wants to be treated well, valued, provided for. Nothing wrong with that. But then you start noticing the imbalance. She wants your time, your money, your attention, your emotional labor, your presence. But she resists responsibility, sacrifice, teamwork, or growth. She behaves like royalty while bringing nothing to the kingdom she wants you to build. Her favorite lines usually start with, "You should," "You're supposed to," or "A real man would." She weaponizes the idea of masculinity to justify her lack of effort. And here's the hidden danger. The more you give her, the more she expects. Entitlement doesn't shrink. It expands. A man in love with an entitled woman slowly becomes her full-time employee, constantly trying to meet demands that have no endpoint. You keep giving, but appreciation never rises. She sees effort as obligation. She sees generosity as standard. and she sees sacrifice as the bare minimum. But if you think entitlement is heavy, the final type takes things to another level entirely, because she doesn't just want your resources, your attention, or your emotional bandwidth. She wants your position as the man. The 10th type is the masculine competitor. This is the woman who carries masculine energy not in a complimentary way, but in a confrontational way. Everything becomes a power struggle. Every disagreement becomes a debate. Every decision becomes a contest. She doesn't communicate, she competes. She doesn't give feedback, she challenges. She doesn't want partnership, she wants dominance. You'll feel it early. Conversations feel like negotiations. Plans feel like battles. She needs to be right, to lead, to control, to outthink you, outtalk you, outrank you. She doesn't trust masculine leadership. She wants to replace it. And here's the truth men don't want to say out loud. Two dominant energies cannot run a home. Someone has to lead. Someone has to soften. Someone has to bring harmony instead of tension. But she refuses to be that person. In a relationship with her, you spend your days defending your decisions, your nights over-explaining your intentions, and your future negotiating your own manhood. Being with her feels like being in a relationship with a rival, not a woman who wants to build with you. A masculine competitor doesn't want a husband, she wants a throne. Now, before we close this message, understand something important. Not every woman who shows these traits is a bad person. People grow. People heal, people evolve. Many women who once acted this way eventually become healthier, wiser versions of themselves. This message isn't about demonizing anyone. It's about protecting your peace and recognizing when someone's current emotional patterns are incompatible with your future. Some women act out of trauma. Some act out of insecurity. Some act out of survival habits they learned long before you arrived. With time, reflection, therapy, maturity, many do change. But here's the truth you must hold on to as a man. It is not your job to fix her. It is not your responsibility to absorb chaos. It is not your duty to sacrifice your mental health for someone who has not chosen to heal themselves. Your purpose is to grow, to build, to rise, and to do it with someone who walks beside you, not someone who drags you backward. If this message resonated with you, drop a quick affirmation in the comments. Just type peace. And if you want to keep growing alongside men who value clarity, strength, and real masculine purpose, hit subscribe and join a community of brothers who are leveling up together. I'll catch you in the next one.